A self-build revolution has been sweeping the country.
The house looks exquisite.
What started as an experiment at Graven Hill, where plots of land were sold to aspiring self-builders by the council,
Right, slow to your left.
has caught the imagination of local authorities across the UK.
Gently, boys. That's it.
It's happening in York, where self-builders are being empowered to create the homes they've always wanted.
It's the first one.
Oh, I feel like I'm making history with you then.
It's happening in Scotland, where Glasgow City Council are piloting their own remarkable scheme in the city centre, which I'm following with my co-presenter, Natasha Huck.
Oh, look at this. It's such a little retreat.
Here, plucky self-builders have been given the chance to build one-off homes that reflect who they are.
My small budget has made me push my design limits more.
This time, in Glasgow, we're following Amanda and Chris, who've designed their home themselves.
And do you have any experience?
Point, squeeze and push.
We're also revisiting Joanna and Ben, who had to fight through a sea of misfortune to build their American ranch home.
I had a phone call and he said, your caravan's not here. Just singed down to the ground.
Oh my God.
Now the ranch is finished, they're trying out different things with it.
A big part of the design of the house was fill the house with musicians and good times.
Bring us up, you can do it. Fantastic.
Planning and strategy officers Amanda and Chris have 2 children. And with a third on the way, they want to upsize.
When we looked at houses, we never found anything that was going to give us exactly what we wanted.
The market doesn't provide the kind of home that we want, and if it did, then we couldn't afford it.
I think if you are looking at a new build, that's something that is a bit more energy efficient and that's a bit better insulated. The bedrooms tend to be fairly small, the living spaces tend to be fairly small.
They're rather desperate to move. They're currently in a 2-bed house an hour away from Glasgow city centre.
We are really bursting at the seams.
I think up until I fell pregnant, it was getting cramped. You know, normally with a new baby coming along, you'd be decorating a nursery. We don't have a room to decorate as a nursery. So basically until the house is built, this baby's not going to have like a nursery.
So, they've taken advantage of the opportunity offered by Glasgow City Council to buy land they can self-build on.
So what's your vision for the house?
It has to be sustainable, has to be affordable. So we want to have obviously our own bedrooms, a bit of open plan space downstairs, but also some kind of discrete space for playroom and office where the kids can go and play and we can go and work.
And have you had any help with the design, or have you done it yourselves?
No, it's all DIY other than just digging ourselves through magazines and watching old episodes of Grand Designs and the like to see what we might like and give us a wee bit of influence and inspiration.
And do you have any background in design, or are you just
Not
making
really.
it up as you go along?
A bit of making up as we go along. I've got an undergrad degree in architecture.
I'm by no means a designer, but as Amanda says, I like to think I can do it. So.
And what's it like working together?
No comment.
Well, we're still talking to each other most days, but we've had a few differences of opinion along the way.
I think actually in terms of design and layout, it's probably I've been driving most of that, and then Amanda's a bit more concerned with the aesthetics, how it'll look and at the time.
I think there's been occasions where you've suggested something or drawn something up, and then I've came in with the practicalities of that, and we've changed things about a bit.
Aye.
There's been quite a few occasions where that's happened, where your ideas maybe not been fully thought
out.
So Chris is the
through.
designer and Amanda's the client then?
That's kind of how it's worked. So yep. So we went through and come up with different ideas. So I wasn't come up with anything particularly wacky. Well, she didn't like my green fish scales for cladding.
Oh no. Oh, that was... Oh yeah. No, I didn't.
Chris isn't joking. Green fish scales may have been a step too far, even for this avant-garde street. The land cost £42,000, and with a project budget of just 250 grand, Amanda and Chris want to use SIPs, structural insulated panels, to achieve their vision. It'll give them a strong and thermally efficient envelope on a budget. First, a precast block and beam floor will be craned in, making an insulated level base. The SIPs kit will then arrive on the back of a lorry, and over the course of 2 weeks, a 2-storey frame will go up. The house will then be clad with a combination of intriguingly fired bricks and timber. Inside, an entrance will lead to an open-plan living room and kitchen, and on the other side there'll be a playroom, downstairs bedroom, and a utility and shower room. Upstairs, there'll be 3 kids' bedrooms and a family bathroom. Across a large landing, you'll find the main bedroom, with a dressing room and ensuite, as well as a balcony overlooking the garden below. In late summer, they start excavating their plot for the foundations. They're sharing the cost with their neighbours.
Our budget was relatively tight, so we had to pool our resources to get things moving.
Getting things moving is a priority. Their new baby has arrived.
Our new baby's not going to have his own room until the house is built. Having a third child at home, we're a bit tight for space now. With wanting the house built, you know, really is as kind of quickly as possible.
Speed is of the essence. On a freezing cold autumn day, the foundations are dug. Amanda and Chris need to lay the concrete slab on which the house will sit, but pouring concrete in these cold conditions is an absolute no-no.
To make concrete, you need sand, cement and aggregate. You mix it with water and then let it cure. The trouble is, if you let it cure when the temperatures are too low, say under 3 degrees, then it's prone to frost damage, and that makes it really weak and brittle. You wouldn't want to build your house on that.
So, Chris and Amanda have come up with an ingenious solution. They're having their slab made off-site, in a factory. It is cast in pieces that'll be put together in situ, like a jigsaw.
On your project, there'll be in the region of 60 individual pieces. After the production today, these will be lifted and taken away to the storage area.
It's a clever, unconventional solution, uniquely suited to building in the chilly Scottish climate.
This type of slab's not been used in a sort of small domestic setting before, but it's been developed more sort of mass social housing projects, kind of much larger projects than ours.
It's exciting to see what we're getting.
It's just exciting to see something happen.
Two months later, a team arrives on site to piece together the unusual jigsaw.
Let's get come out that way a wee bit.
It's been made to fit perfectly.
Fairly excited, fairly concerned. If there's any measurements are out, then it's just how we deal with that on site and find a solution to it.
Some pieces slide together precisely, with just millimetres to spare. Others don't, and need filling with a concrete mix by a man with a broom.
No, I'm pleased. All fits, which is the main worry. All fits, looks level, so it's good.
Now they have a smooth, complete slab. The timber frame company is ready to start producing the frame. But a week goes by, then months with nothing happening on site. In Scotland, building regulations require council approval in the form of a building warrant before you can start building. And Chris and Amanda still don't have one.
3, good boy. I think we really need just to see something happening on site. It's just been a bit disheartening at times, I think. We keep setting deadlines and then that gets shifted and shifted and shifted again.
It's painful, not least because thanks to the continuously increasing material prices in the construction industry, every week they wait risks pushing up the cost of the project.
In Scotland, obviously, you can't start works until you've gotten the building warrant, so you're completely held by that.
It was just really pernickety small things.
It was literally just a lot of very small issues, and then there would be times where it would say, oh, I don't have that document, but it had been uploaded previously. I particularly struggle at times with feeling like we're not making any progress and feeling like nothing's happening.
It was probably, from our perspective, a wee bit of naivety maybe about the process.
Right, OK.
I don't think Chris and Amanda are naive, but rather brave for trying to build something exciting.
What colour would you like? Blue. Blue?
The process of obtaining a building warrant can be straightforward, or lengthy and complex depending on the detail required.
Uh-oh.
I just hope they don't have to wait too much longer. Chris and Amanda's small home is feeling smaller by the day.
We outgrew this house like a long time ago. You know, it's constantly moving stuff around to make space. We're working from home, so the dining table is office. And quite often, Chris and I will be here, both working. So we're kind of like shoving each other's laptops out the road and stuff. You know, we're just trying to muddle through as best we can. And it's fine if you're just sending emails, but then when you're maybe on a call, you have a tiny wee face popping up beside you. That's not ideal. It's a lot.
They've waited 7 months for their building warrant, the building regs document you need in Scotland before you can start building. But now it's finally been signed off and it's come through.
Good morning, good to see you. Yeah, thanks for coming down. This is it. Yes, this is where 2D turns into 3D.
So, they can start.
I feel as though I've been saying for so long, once we get the kit up, and now I'm like, next week we are actually getting the kit up. So I think now, yeah, it's definitely starting to feel real.
Giant sandwiches of sterling board with a toasty foam filling are cut to size and stacked to make the structural walls and roof of the house. Once on site, they're lifted into position by hand. Over the following 2 weeks, the house shoots up. Until the big day comes to lift the roof in the driving rain.
Lots of rain, but hopefully we can get through it.
Well, I hope so. The precisely engineered roof panels are getting soaked sat on site. Quick as they can, they get lifting. But the very last one doesn't fit. The water appears to have warped it.
We're a wee bit tight to get finished before the crane's off site and the light fades. It's important to get in today because it's an extra £1,000 if they don't.
The pressure is on to get the roof panels in place quickly. When it comes to solving tolerance issues, there's nothing mightier than a mallet, a big one. And just as the light disappears, the last panel slots in.
The boys managed to get the job done, fortunately. So a wee sense of relief that we don't need to go without a bathroom and a kitchen to pay for it to come back out again tomorrow. So that's always good.
With the lid now on, our first-time designers Chris and Amanda have an opportunity to study their creation.
How does it feel now you can see it physically? Is it what you expected? Do you think you're going to change anything?
Don't think we've made any catastrophic errors, hopefully, basically.
Is there anything particular that you're quite proud of? You know, for example, the porch part?
Yeah.
So we thought we'd basically soften the entrance up a little bit, particularly because it's the first house in the street. Add a little bit of visual interest. We'll change the material there as well, so it's going to be timber cladding rather than brick. But also, given that it's a fairly wet climate we live in, and when you're coming out with your car, when you're fiddling for your keys, you probably want to be under cover and get protected from the elements.
So instead of adding a porch on the outside, what you've done is cut a corner of the building, which signifies the entrance, but it also gives you this porch.
The thought and attention to detail that Chris and Amanda have given their design is impressive, as is their ambition for maxing out their living space inside.
So this is your hall?
Yes.
Oh, it's massive. It's great. It's like another room.
Yeah. We're going from a 2-bedroom ex-council house to ginormous
mansion. So now that the shell is up, who's going to kind of finish the rest of the work? You going to do some yourself?
As much as we can. A lot of the stuff's fairly unskilled.
Was that a budgetary reason, or is it because you want to just get stuck in?
A bit of both, but probably mostly budgetary.
Sometimes we just kind of grudge paying someone to do something that we could do ourselves.
So we'll do as much of that as we can. So things like, framing plasterboard and putting up your stud walls and the like, it's DIY-able, certainly.
And do you have any experience of that?
Sorry.
Oh dear, that sounds ominous. The first big job is drilling in the roof timber battens.
Now, how far in do you want to start it?
300.
Chris has his dad, Tom, on site to help him. He's not a builder, but has extensive DIY experience.
This will be the first project with Chris. Chris would not naturally be your building partner. Point, squeeze and push. Oh. With the nail gun, we'll make sure that he's pointing the nail gun in the right direction before we pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger? Where's the trigger?
Under your right finger.
Press it in.
A week later, Chris has taken to the inside to develop his mastery of the nail gun as he puts up stud walls. They seem huge.
Quite dramatic.
It is quite dramatic.
Yeah.
But I don't think when you're in any of the rooms, they don't feel that big lengthwise.
Plan-wise, footprint-wise.
Yeah, but in height, they feel enormous.
Chris and his dad have been doing the work with help from Amanda's dad, Dave, another enthusiastic DIYer who's also joined the crew.
All on site doing something quite stressful. Interesting dynamics.
I'm very glad that we have my dad and Chris's dad, because they are both very hands-on and know what they're doing.
Are they?
And Chris is maybe not. And,
he's learning.
He's learning, but his work's not always that perfect. They're both just very...
practical?
Yeah. Chris doesn't really get that gene.
Chris is more the master planner and project manager, organising schedules, while the two dads enjoy getting their hands dirty. A month later, Tom and Dave have started wiring.
Who's in charge?
David.
Who is the grafter?
Me.
You. So tell me something, like 2 dads, right? 2 families. 1 house is a bit like a Shakespearean play. But I'm wondering how you've worked out between you what your kind of contribution is.
We start in the morning. We have a, what are we going to do? We ask Chris and Amanda and then we do the opposite, because that tends to be the right thing to do. One goes up a ladder and starts drilling holes or screwing things to the wall, and then we swap over. We do not have a plan.
Have you done much building?
Lots of sort of decking and little sheds and things like that, but not building a house.
What about you, David?
A lot of DIY. We did our own extension about 5 years ago now.
Yeah, and in terms of delivering quality, are there any complaints back from management or the client?
There was a lot of complaints that I was using not enough tape, so I just stopped doing it. You tape and fill, I'll just stand and watch.
So I've been thinking a little bit about love and caring and intergenerational support as exemplified here on this big family project. And it seems to me it is a bit of a one-way street. As parents, of course, we care for our children, we nurture them when they are small. And this is something that Chris and Amanda are really aware of. And then they grow up and become teenagers and, well, we have to suffer the abuse they throw back at us, but we also have to be their taxi drivers at the same time. Then we find ourselves helping them and supporting them and paying their way through university, perhaps, and out into the world. And then there comes a point where we think, oh, they're on their own, they've taken flight, they are independent. At which point, clearly, they turn around to us and say, can you build my house for me? Chris and Amanda's house sits alongside an array of wildly different houses. There's an American ranch, a mountain-style hut, and an eccentric take on council housing. Architectural diversity in town planning can be a powerful thing. It builds identity, place, and community. It's a lesson learned from one of the greatest planned villages in the UK. Port Sunlight near Liverpool, built in 1888. But there is no mishmash of modern here. The mishmash is all historic. This is Mrs. Tiggy Winkle's suburb, isn't it? It's all of a piece. So whether your taste is for black and white Tudor-Beathen, or whirligig Jacobean, or some ridiculous Dutch gable style, whatever your taste in 16th century architecture, it can be met here at Port Sunlight. More than 30 different architects designed dozens of different historical styles of house. The mastermind was Lord Lever, who built it for the workers in the soap factory he owned. Heather Alcock is the Heritage Conservation Officer here and an expert on the place's history.
What he wanted was a loyal, healthy, and productive workforce. But what Lever did was he married sort of this picturesque architecture that we have with landscape and sanitary housing. So he put that all into one space at a really low housing density.
I presume the alternative to living in a 2- to 3-bedroom house in this Eden would be some hovel in a really grimy back street with access to no public realm at all.
Exactly. There was a study done by Lord George in 1909 that compared life expectancy, birth rate, survival rate, education, overall well-being between Liverpool and Port Sunlight, and Port Sunlight came out top trumps. Just the experiment worked. So here, the vision of what home is was given to people, and they respected it, and they treated it with care because, and this is a personal opinion, because it was beautiful. And he surrounded them with beauty as a way of moralizing people, as a way of transforming outlooks and attitudes. And I think for creating community, perhaps it worked.
Although it's important to remember this place was built to service Lever's soap business. It's very, very much as it was in the days of Lever. It was designed to impress. Visitors would be brought, customers, clients, distributors would be brought to admire these houses, which from the front at least were really beautifully built, and yet at the back, look at them. Some of the grandest houses turn out to be one room deep. two-bedroom homes. So this is a statement as much as it is an aspiration for people. It's a marketing exercise as much as it's an exercise in a model town. But in a way, you accept that because there's a sort of balance. The commercial interests were satisfied, and actually the social interests have also been satisfied here. The residents came here and lived here because it was better, simply better than anything they'd experienced. So they put up with having to put on a show for the potential guests. Why not? Why not mow your lawns and trim your hedges and paint the front of your house so that other people could admire it? Because it's part of what we all do in the communities we all live in.
However, it's not trimmed hedges or manicured lawns that put on the show for passers-by on the street in Glasgow. It is modern diversity in the creative use of materials. In Chris and Amanda's case, there's fired brick.
What's called a feather just on the face there, and as you can see there, the sort of burn mark on the face is always facing to the right hand side, so it gives it that kind of patterned effect.
Somehow set against this great stone buttress to the canal, you have a masonry building. Although it's not really masonry, it's masonry skinned.
Yeah.
It's part masonry skin, so it's part red brick, which is a kind of local vernacular in this part of Glasgow.
Yeah.
And there's a wee kind of nod, as you say, to the stonework. There's a wee hint of kind of burnt end to it that looks a lot similar to the stone wall of the canal.
Yeah. I do like the way on that window there, on the left-hand side, you've got the dark edges into the window, into the reveal. And on the right-hand side, they're clean, you know. Almost as though the bricks are kind of speeding away, you know.
Yeah, then there's odd ones that are just standard red.
But that's all fine and good.
Yeah.
If I narrow my eyes, it's almost like a checkerboard pattern, you know. You just want to almost enjoy that. It's like looking at a piece of tweed or a piece of fabric, you know, that kind of woven quality running through.
Chris and Amanda are also facing the outside of their home in timber. The big challenge is working out the junctions where the two materials will meet.
Because there's not a turn around the corner, as you can see, it's fairly unappealing.
The trades have sort of decided for them.
In terms of the aesthetics, the brick was protrude. We've got the back of the face in brick that's not been returned round the corner, so it's fairly unattractive.
It's not the bricky's fault, though.
I think these are just the kind of conversations that you probably end up having when you don't have an architect and you don't have someone planning out those more minute details.
But we hadn't thought about that until the brick is finished.
They'll need to resolve important details like this. Theirs is the first you see in this row of houses. It is the gateway building here. So there's pressure to get it right.
As a self-builder, it is highly likely that you're going to build something unusual, outlandish, idiosyncratic perhaps. And the thing is, that is always going to attract judgment, isn't it? From friends and neighbours and strangers, passers-by even. But of course, the harshest critic of all is always going to be you, which is why so many self-builders obsess about the tiniest detail.
Not just among the self-builds in Glasgow either. At Graven Hill, the UK's largest self-build experiment, intensive focus on the details has been taken to an extreme by some of the self-builders. When John and Julia finished their triangular home, they made a triangular garden.
It's Triangle Manor. I mean, look at it's Triangle Garden. It's, I love these shapes. I mean, I'm guessing it's all about the geometry of the site.
Yes.
That wall.
He's
that
the
wall.
geometry, I'm the planting.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we should have a bed here, and he makes it
She was sort of expecting a round one, and I thought...
Let me ask you, are the proportions of that triangle Are they identical to the proportions of the plot or the building?
No, there was...
I'm so relieved to hear that.
Even when a house has been finished to the obsessive satisfaction of its builder-owner, there are those who never stop working. Terry and Olwen were one of the first 10 pioneers to build at Graven Hill.
The boss has asked me to put a balustrade up on our mezzanine in our bedroom. Having finished doing this build, I got a bit frustrated. Just having things to do gives me a purpose to get up in the morning and get going. I need a project to keep me sane. It's given me a new lease of life. I just feel more active.
Every self-builder the UK over, whether at Graven Hill or in Glasgow, knows too well that the experience of building is all-consuming.
Because you're just ripping it to bits.
What do you want to do?
I wanted to cut a wee section when it was a wee back. If we're not at site, we're ordering stuff for site, or at the moment we're like planning our kitchen, we're picking flooring, even if we're not actually working on site. And then we're also trying to both work full time, and we're also trying to make sure the kids are still got normality. I mean, it is a lot, it's just generally a lot.
The pressure is mounting too. Both sets of parents have gone on holiday with acres of cladding still to do.
I think this house, nobody quite grasps the scale of it, and the cladding has taken probably twice as long as what we thought. I think if we were ever building again with timber cladding, we would line the windows up, because that's the issue. Like when we've got windows and then windows above, but they don't line up. So you need to fix the spacing.
But there are some pluses to taking on more of the work themselves.
I know how to use a drill and a nail gun now, which helps when you're building a house.
Yeah. My dad would never have let me use a power tool. Pretty much, if ever I wanted a shelf put up, he would come and do it for me. But now I'm allowed to use the nail gun and I'm allowed to use a circular saw by myself. I feel like I've reached maturity.
I think that self-build is a really, really powerful tool for self-development. Because every day on a building site, there are all kinds of situations to confront, all kinds of challenges to overcome. And on the way through, you're learning new skills. And it doesn't matter how experienced you are, there's always new stuff to learn, especially when you are on your own, because when you are trying to do all this by yourself, it is in those moments that you discover what you can truly achieve. I could really use a pencil sharpener.
For 3 years, Chris and Amanda and their parents have been working hard on their self-designed and self-built home. There's been added pressure in that theirs is the first house in this remarkable, architecturally progressive street.
It's so good to see the scaffolding down, I have to say.
Yeah, but these pieces of timber, I think, work really well, because it's a big house, but that
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. They had great fun with it. I mean, it's really considered and it's joyful. And planners are, you know, in their hearts, I suspect, creative people, but they're just never normally allowed to express much of that. And here, yeah, they've really let go.
They've done the street proud. All the tricky details on the building, where the timber meets the brick, have been resolved beautifully. And thanks to the work they've done themselves, they've stayed on budget. It has become that eye-catching gateway building.
Good to see you. It's lovely. These bricks have been burnt at one end.
Yeah.
Hence the drift of colour across them is, I think, just brilliant. It just lifts the pattern. It's almost like a light and shade effect, you know, across them. I've only ever seen them with the scaffolding in place, so it's really effective.
There's quite a lot of brick, kind of uniform brick, and we thought just to add a wee bit of visual interest.
Yeah.
Let's break it up a little bit. So we quite like it.
But what's lovely is you end up with a corner which is entirely red and a corner which is almost entirely grey.
Yeah.
You know? It's like the little feather ends are chasing each other around the building.
The inside is still a work in progress. The vastness of the house and small number of people working on it means there's still a way to go. But the outside is where the real magic is for me anyway.
It's amazing. It's so charming.
You know, I don't mind the windows not lining up. I don't think they have to. I think actually the asymmetries makes it interesting.
The architect in you thinks it looks good, then great.
I'm drawn to the label detail over the top of the windows because every board's been chamfered to sit on top of that, and that just to overthrow the water a bit. And I just think that's really delightful. That it's crafted, you know.
It's really been lovingly done. In hindsight, there must be a point where you can reflect and say, you know, self-development, self-growth. You know, there's so much that you've learned.
I think there will be a moment, and I think hopefully there will be a moment for Chris where he realises where he realises what we have achieved. And I think, I really hope that you do realise that. And I think you will. But just now, sometimes you're just so off the cuff of, oh, it's fine, and it's all right, and it's like, it's not all right, it is amazing.
That's nice, it's good.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, honestly.
Cannot think about that. Just get it done.
Oh, no, there's no emotion, there's no.
Chris and Amanda couldn't be more different as people. And maybe that's a compelling reason why this building is so good.
So I've been trying to make sense of the dual aspect of this building, the fact that it seems to present two different personalities, to the front and to the back. And I think I'm right in saying that the front of it, facing the street, being slightly rawer, a little bit more robust, harder perhaps, and impenetrable. I think that reflects the personality of Chris, whereas the back, that's Amanda. This soft arrangement, this playful arrangement of windows and materials kind of hints at something in her character, I think. We're so not used to that in our society. We're so not used to being able to somehow identify character and personalities in buildings that the idea seems almost alien, doesn't it? But why not do it? Those personalities represent the delight of what architecture can provide, the joy.
Another great building on this street that embodies those values of personality and joy is Joanna and Ben's at the opposite end.
How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Nice to see you again.
And you.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I love your knocker. It's ironic, isn't it? That's what it is.
Of course.
Yeah.
It will make sense when we get the horse outside.
Of course.
Inside, the ranch has evolved.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Well, this is new down here, isn't it? You've made benches.
Some storage benches, yeah.
But we were distinctly lacking in storage, so this is awesome.
And you've got a guest room down here as well now, by the looks of it. Yeah, lovely.
And wonderfully eccentric, a gymnastic vaulting horse as a bedside table hints at what is to come in the main living space. Which is a remarkable riot of oversized pots, greenery, and eclectic furnishings.
Done a little bit more work on the kitchen.
Nice. This is lovely. Is this stained or is this burnt?
So this is all burnt stuff, burnt timber.
Burnt, what is it? Whoops, sorry, hang on. That's it's on wheels.
I'd like to have a dynamic kitchen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's an island unit that's suffering from continental drift. Yeah, it's terrific. I love the sort of elemental nature of this, though. The fact you've got this timber building, timber kitchen. The treatments are all different, you know. And they're all kind of quite rough, you know, brutal. Nothing is too refined.
Absolutely. It gets character as it gets aged. If the material quality is interesting, then the knocks just kind of add to it.
Yeah.
Like with this kitchen island, my joke is it's not a kitchen island, it's a sketch of a kitchen island.
Yeah, this was the sketch.
Because that's left of a floor joist.
Really?
Yeah. So that's just normal 16 timber. It's also leftover reject timber from the frame, which is just lying in the yard.
Yeah, and I really like this little adapted coat hook.
Yes.
Because every single tea towel holder I've ever seen is made from plastic and breaks, and it's stupid.
Yes.
And this is intelligent. If there's an idea I'm going to take away from your house and reuse, it's that. It's brilliant. There are some ideas that I won't take away, though.
The other night, I ran a life modelling workshop here. So that was 16 people. And it's people that want to learn how to be life models for artists. So I'm going to just show you a video from the other night.
Okay.
Photograph from the other night.
What? No, I shouldn't be looking at this. This is naked people. Oh, I'm just going to zoom in on that. That's, wow, okay.
I mean, that's...
There is actually a naked man hanging from the rings as well. Okay. That looks just like
not the homeowner.
Yeah, kind of naturist convention in the Midwest somewhere. You know, when it's full of people doing a life drawing class and you just come back from work and you just think, oh, I just want to shower and just want to have a beer.
Well, there's the porch. That's where I was the other night. When all the naked people were inside, I was on the porch having a beer.
Yeah, and it's remarkable to think that the building that you've constructed can happily contain and look after all these activities and promote them. Including circus skills. It's impossible to resist being drawn into all the oddness this house has to offer. Can I have a go?
Oh, no.
Is it safe?
Good question.
Oh! Bloody hell.
That's impressive.
I was just showing off.
Yeah.
I now need to sit down in the shade. Oh! This building can accommodate anything. Working from home has never been so joyful. Joanna's put her desk on the mezzanine, looking out over the glorious ground floor and beyond. While, in a moment, the kitchen can transform into a roller disco. The greatest change here, though, is the garden. What was previously a muddy pit is now this. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here's to you, here's to your street. Here's to your house and your life. Barbecue area and roses over an arch. Whose romantic idea was that?
That's me, yep. It's a cottage garden.
And the process is the fun part. You've been looking after the roses. We've found the water lilies in the canal, like kind of foraging to build.
They're from the canal. How wonderful.
And that's the fun part. I think it'd be really lovely to see the neighbours kind of grow in this space as well, because we've been here feel like we've been here quite a long time now, since the caravan in 2019. It'd be nice to see other people.
Yeah, once they're done with the sort of intensity of the self-build process, where it's a singular focus of there's so many problems to solve that you've got your blinkers on. There's a little bit more openness, I think, once the real scary thing is over.
I guess that's the exciting part, to kind of, the community is forming now.
Yeah. Individually, these homes are extraordinary. Collectively, they will turn what was a patch of unloved industrial wasteland into a vibrant street that is independent, diverse, unique. So there is a view in planning and architecture about placemaking. But if you want to make somewhere really rich and exciting, where people really want to live and engage and form a proper community, you do so with consultants, and you kind of, rather like making organic soup in a factory, you engineer it with bicycle clubs and beehives and orchards and wildflower meadows, and it does work, and that is a really, really considered and valid approach. But there is a more authentic route, I think, which is this. I mean, you give 6 households a scrap of land and you say, build your own homes. Do it with passion, build your own idiosyncratic mix of what you want, where you want to live, and in doing that, well, you get something really valid. From that springs an absolutely shared desire to look after what you own. The chickens may come of their own volition, as may the community orchard. That's really authentic. That is proper, homemade, organic minestrone.